financial freedom is when you have enough money to where you can live the life that you want to live without taking into account what does your employer say? What kind of BS do you put up with from your employer or family or friends or relationships? Because you're in a place where you are not fully financially empowered. You know, financial freedom is this phrase that my entire industry uses, but does anyone really actually know what financial freedom actually means? Because it's kind of like there is no definition for it. Why? Because we as human beings, we define financial freedom very differently. I have some people that say, well, financial freedom is when I'm going to make a whole bunch of money and I'm making tons of money and then it's going to be freedom. Actually, making the money is not really actually whatever gives anybody that freedom. It's what you do with the money that you get is really the most important part. What do I mean by that? What I mean is the fact that you have income coming into your checking account and then you have expenses going out. And whatever that net number is, and what do you do with that net number after expenses? And then it goes to a deeper layer in terms of saying, well, how much financial past, meaning what kind of debts, financial debts did you create for yourself in your household? So if you have a lot of debts, you are now victim to the system because you have to wake up every single day to actually pay somebody else. So you're living for the banking system to make a much money off of you. That doesn't feel good to anybody because I've never seen people so happy when they pay off their car, they pay off their house. No one that I've ever met wants the burden of having a mortgage in their retirement. And why is that? It's because of the fact that you don't feel free. It's like you have a ball and chain hooked to your leg and it's a struggle. And it may not be a struggle, it may just be something that you do, but it never feels good that you have to wake up every day and not have the freedom to do whatever the hell you want. So financial freedom is when you have enough money to where you can live the life that you want to live without taking into account what does your employer say? What kind of BS do you put up with from your employer or family or friends or relationships? Because you're in a place where you are not fully financially empowered. So when you talk about having financial freedom, it's really about financial empowerment. Are you sitting there and are you feeling empowered? I had a whole conversation with my daughter about this yesterday. You know, she was talking to me about how, you know, Mom, I'm not going to do it your way. I'm not going to run my own business. I'm not going to do all that stuff. That's a lot of responsibility and I don't want it. And she was sitting there telling me that, you know, I just want to have a man and I want to be the at-home wife and be the PTA mom and just do those things. And I'm like, you can absolutely do those things. But the question is do you want somebody else to say yes or no, you can spend that money? And not all spouses do that. But when you're not financially empowered and you don't have your own money, whether you're a woman or a man, or a child for that matter, you're not holding the cards. The cards are not in your hand. Now, there are couples out there that collaborate very well, but there's also a lot of couples out there that use money as a power and control tool. So we have to be careful of that. And this is why the interrelation of our money and our relationships, as well as our happiness, is all intertwined. And when we don't create that happiness, then we create disease in our bodies. And that's not financial freedom either. It's all tied because money is what makes the world go round. And we have to make sure that we're sitting in a state where we're being financially empowered, where we're trying to become our own bank. And what do I mean by becoming your own bank? You become your own bank by not using credit lines because then somebody else doesn't own your working life. Because you'll make different decisions when you don't have a bunch of things that you owe. Oh, the dance with debt. That's a funny one because I have plenty of left brain logical financial people say, well, if I'm only paying out 2.35% on my mortgage because I locked it in when interest rates were low, why would I ever pay more down on the principal? Well, you pay more down on the principal because if you don't want to dance with debt anymore or have that monthly commitment, you do it for that reason. So there could be different reasons why you do things. It could be because of the reason of interest rate, that which one am I going to make more money on? And that's definitely a reason if you're trying to effectively manage your money and make more money and leverage and get more money financially, that could very well make sense. But that may not be the dominant answer. And this dance with debt is because we have this war going on inside of our minds between our emotional mind going, but I don't like debt and I don't like waking up every day owing somebody money. And then there's the left brain logical going, well, I could make on average 6 to 8% in the stock market over time, and I can make more than I'm paying out. And that's absolutely true. But then that's with good rates on your mortgage. Then there's the, I want to keep cash in my bank account, even though I have a $6,000 credit card debt, but you're paying 22% on your credit card debt, but you're only making, today when we're making this video, interest rates are a little bit over 4% that you can make on it, but you're still losing. If you're paying out 22, you're making 4, you're behind by 18% on an annual basis. So cars can be applied this way, student loans can be applied this way, just as our mortgage and our credit cards, or even debt that you owe family members. So there may be the reason for the left brain logical of, well, what's the difference in interest rates? And then that's how you plan and strategize. But it could also be, that may not be your main driver. I have people that can't sleep at night, and had a conversation with a client the other day. They have $120,000 in a savings account and their mortgage is $98,000. And they're like, but I'm at 3.625% interest. Okay, that's a little bit closer to where interest rates are right now. And you can make the argument that here in the United States, you get a tax deduction for that mortgage interest. And I know I might be going off the deep end for some of you, but what I'm saying is that if you actually are sitting there and going, I'm not sleeping at night and I don't feel like I can stop working for this employer because they're in their early 60s, well, pay off the damn debt because your body relaxes. So there's something that I need each and every one of you to start to pay attention to. Consider the left brain logical answer. And that was what I went through at the beginning of this video. But then there's you. You as the individual. How do you want to dance with that debt? How do you dance with that debt to where you're sleeping at night? You feel grounded, to where it's not creating anxiety, to where you're not up in your head going, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? It's like the crazy monkey mind. If you're starting to do those things with your debt and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That means it's not in alignment with self. And we need to start to really pay attention to that you matter because it's affecting your self-care and it's affecting your love for yourself to actually put you first, then maybe what's the most financially efficient. And it's also okay if you do the opposite. It's also okay if you do financially first and that maybe you're okay, not doing it. And you know what? Maybe the answer is in your dancing in debt, it's a little bit of both. Financially do the right thing, but also emotionally. It's wherever puts you in that state of neutrality. That is the most smooth dance that you could ever have when you're working with your debt. Why? Because your nervous system then is in neutral, which then allows you to manifest more of what you actually want in life. Most of us don't realize that our nervous system and our human bodies are that important. What do I mean by that? It's that important because of the fact that our pineal gland that is sitting right in the middle of our brains think of it like your lighthouse. It's the light that's going woo, woo, woo. And that lighthouse is actually telling the world and the universe, because everything works on sound and vibration, of what you're going to attract to yourself. So if you're nervous Nelly, or you're anxiety ridden, depressed, or frustrated that you have this dance with debt that's not empowering to you, well, what happens? Your pineal gland, your light on your lighthouse just went, and it contracted. And when you're in a contracted state, whether it's anxiety, nervousness, can't sleep, thinking too much about it, and it's making your monkey mind go, you are not going to manifest everything else that you want to create in your life because you are the creator of your life. So when you're choosing how you are dancing with debt, and keep in mind, I said how you're choosing. You choose every step of the way how you are dancing with debt. So decide, do you want it to be a dance where you're stepping on your partner's toes? Or do you want it to be a dance that's smooth and everyone's watching? It's like, oh, it's expansive and it feels good and it's amazing. So take a look at how you're dancing with debt and take you into account, I guarantee you're probably going to make a little shift. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell for the videos, because as I'm giving these tips, you can get all the data. And join me on juliemurphy.com and see all the resources at your fingertips, because I have 29 years of experience that I want to share with all of you, because this is my give back to help everyone get to a more place of financial empowerment.